I think there are two answers to that question. It's, in a way, it's just as easy and just as hard as it ever was to live the Buddha's teaching, because suffering is always with us. Every human life has suffering. There's always old age and sickness and death, those three sights that Siddhartha saw as a young man. So we're dealing with just the same sorts of things that people were dealing with 2,500 years ago at the time of the Buddha. In another way, I think it's much harder now to live the Buddha's teachings than it was 2,500 years ago, because we live in a world that's much, much more interconnected than it was then. All the clothes that we wear in Britain or the West are made in countries in the Far East by people who are very, very poor. And so the choices we make when we go shopping affect people who are living far away. Maybe they're not getting paid enough because we're not paying enough in our shops. And when I buy vegetables, some of them are grown in Africa, where they're growing expensive green beans for me to eat in the West, instead of growing food for themselves, which they need. And there's the internet. Everybody knows everything about other people all across the world. So it has a really huge effect. If I drive my car, it probably causes environmental damage in some other part of the world. So in that way, in a way it feels much harder, because it feels like there are much bigger consequences to everything I do. So sometimes I feel a much greater sense of responsibility. And of course it's tempting then just to close my eyes and say, I don't want to think about it. But as a Buddhist, I've made a commitment to stay open-hearted and to look life in the eye and stay conscious and aware and take the consequences of that.